In 23 days, Democrats are more united than ever and ready to win. According to a new CNN poll, Vice President Harris has the support of 94% of Democrats, while Donald Trump has the support of 91% of Republicans. And she has the support of some of the nation's largest labor organizations. Vice President Harris is, of course, currently serving with the most pro-union president in history. And today, one day after Vice President Harris spoke to the nation's largest teachers union after receiving their endorsement, the Laborers International Union of North America pointed to the Biden-Harris administration's record in their endorsement. Quote, Vice President Harris has been a key partner in leading the most pro-union White House ever. She played a critical role in advancing the biggest investment in our nation's infrastructure in modern times, and in doing so is helping to create hundreds of thousands of good union jobs. She has been a trusted partner in bringing jobs back to the U.S. by reviving our manufacturing base. Through the Inflation Reduction Act, the Vice President has helped transform renewable energy jobs into family-supporting union jobs. The Laborers Union wasn't the only construction workers union to endorse Vice President Harris today. The Philadelphia Building and Construction Trades Council, an umbrella organization for more than 50 local unions, held a rally today in support of Vice President Harris.
And I'm so proud to stand here representing over 40,000 construction workers, public employees, refinery workers, every type of worker you want to name in this region. And we're going to use all of our time, our talent, and our treasure to elect the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris. Joe Biden and Harris made it possible for us to have pre-apprenticeship programs so we could bring African Americans, Latinos, and women into the building trades. This isn't what they said they were going to do, like Trump, an empty promise. This is what they did.
Here's what the chair of the Philadelphia Democratic Party said Joe Biden told him about Kamala Harris.
I talked to Joe, and he said, Bobby, I call him Joe when he calls me Bobby. You know what he told me? Get over it. He said, I didn't pick Kamala Harris to be my vice president almost 4 years ago just for her to sit around and just to be the vice president. I knew she'd be ready, willing, and able for situations like this.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro had a message for Vice President Harris's opponent.
We are producing more energy in America than ever before, giving us more freedom, more prosperity than ever before. Our economy is growing faster than any other economy in the world, and we are outcompeting China for the first time in generations, giving us more freedom and more opportunity. And thanks to union brothers and sisters like you and many more across this country, this morning in America, when folks woke up, more people went to a job than ever before, thanks to the Biden-Harris administration. And so I got a message to Donald Trump. Stop shit-talking America. Stop attacking our workers. Stop limiting our freedom and start standing up for righteousness, for goodness, and for the American people. The person who is best equipped to do that in this election, the person we are going to unite behind in order to accomplish that, is the Vice President of the United States, our next president, our 47th president, a dear friend of mine, a dear friend of Philadelphia's, Kamala Harris. Are y'all with me? Let's get this done, Philly.
Vice President Harris has not only received overwhelming support of the Democratic convention delegates, who will actually choose the nominee in August, she has also locked up the enthusiastic support of the top two Democrats in Congress, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries, former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary Hillary Clinton, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, and perhaps most importantly, every other Democratic rising star whose name had been mentioned as a potential rival. Many of them are now on her vice presidential shortlist, and they have been out in the field campaigning and making the case in interviews and with voters. There was only one major endorsement outstanding, and that endorsement came today.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi, you're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this, too, aren't we?
Joining us now, Valerie Jarrett, former senior advisor to President Obama, who joins us in her personal capacity this evening. Valerie, always great to see you. Thank you for coming to The Last Word. The Obamas are the last major Democratic endorsement the vice president needed. In 5 days, the Democratic Party has completely unified around Vice President Harris, and she is on her way to becoming the Democratic Party nominee and possibly the first woman president. Are you surprised at how quickly this intra-party transfer of party has been?
What a week. It has been so exciting. Jonathan, as you said, just think about it. 5 days ago, just 5 days ago, President Biden endorsed Vice President Harris. She has had grassroots organized phone calls of 160,000 people breaking the Zoom, raising more money than has ever been raised in 1 week in any campaign ever. As you put it, endorsements up and down, all around, enthusiasm and excitement. And it just feels like just a very special moment. And to have both President and Michelle Obama call her on the telephone and make such a personal endorsement was a crescendo that we needed at the end of this week.
Mm-hmm. Tell us how you know the vice president.
Well, we go back quite a ways from the time when she was serving as the Attorney General in California, and I was working in the White House. I know her son-in-law, or not her son-in-law, her brother-in-law, Tony West, very well. We worked together during the 2007 and 2008 campaign. I've had a chance to admire and respect her career literally for decades. And there is no one better prepared, more ready, more competent, more enthusiastic, and has infused hope around our country. I know everyone around the country just feels this sense of possibilities. And she represents really the best of America, and I think she's embracing the country as a whole. And this is just the first week. 100 days to go, and I think it's going to be an extraordinary campaign. And I'm just so in around the country.
Valerie, you know what it took to elect the first black man president. You were there from the very beginning. Some voters might need help expanding their vision of an American president to a woman, a black woman. What would be your advice on that?
Listen, I think that when you listen to her story, it's a quintessential American story. It's part of what makes America so amazing. It's a country of inclusion. Her whole life has been the first or the only. She's broken all kinds of glass ceilings. And the thing that I really respect about the vice president is she's always determined to open up that door a little wider so that she's not the first and only, but that many more come after her. And look, let's face it, we've already seen women who have run for this high office before. Hillary Clinton was the nominee. I think our country is more than ready for Vice President Harris to assume the presidency. There's nobody better prepared. She's been right there for 4 years by President Biden's side, been a part of all of the deliberations and meetings and giving him wise advice and counsel, and been a surrogate around the country on her own, around the world, in fact, Jonathan. So she is more than ready for this opportunity, and I just can't wait to see how the country continues to respond to her as they have over the last 5 days, and not just the next 100 days, but the entire time that she's in office. And she's going to need that kind of enthusiasm to stay with her throughout, and I love the way both President Michelle Obama said, look, we're here for you. We want to see you get in office, and we want to see you do a fabulous job once you're there.
Hey, Valerie, how can the Obamas best help Vice President Harris in the 100 days that are left in this campaign?
Look, I think it's going to be all hands on deck. Of course, we're going to look forward to seeing the voices of both President and Michelle Obama, but there are many other voices around the country that are important. And I think part of what the Vice President has made clear in these first 5 days is that she wants a really big tent. She's so excited, I am sure, about the grassroots organizing. The fact that in just a couple of hours, women and men are organizing these calls around the country. And not only are they getting excited about it, but they're raising money for her. And I think it's going to require, as I said, all hands on deck. This race will be close. It will be hard work. She's prepared. She's willing to roll up her sleeves and earn every single vote during the campaign, and then become the president for all of America. And I think that's just the breath of fresh air that we need right now. And I, think there's been a lot of anxiety of late. And what I've been hearing this week from around the country is true hopefulness. And I can't wait to see how she governs when she's president.
You know how there's so much excitement and hopefulness? The calls that you mentioned, there's a white dudes for Kamala call next week. That's how you know folks are excited about this candidacy. Valerie Jarrett.
And young people, too.
Right.
That's what we need.
Right. Valerie Jarrett, former senior advisor to President Obama, thank you very much for coming to The Last Word.
You're welcome, Jonathan.
And coming up, the Biden-Harris administration notched a huge national security win on the border. How big? Let's put it this way. If Trump had done it, we'd never hear the end of it. That's next.
Some days you can feel like a spectator in your own life with chronic migraine. 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. And treatment is 4 times a year. In a survey, 91% of users wish they'd started sooner. So why wait? Talk to your doctor.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Chronic migraine may still keep you from being there. Why wait? Talk to your doctor about Botox and get in the picture. Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Power E-Trade's easy-to-use tools make complex trading less complicated. Custom scans help you find new trading opportunities, while an earnings tool helps you plan your trades and stay on top of the market. E-Trade from Morgan Stanley.
You might be used to living with your albuterol asthma rescue inhaler, but it's a bit of a dinosaur because it only treats your symptoms, not inflammation. Treating both symptoms and inflammation with Rescue is supported by asthma experts. Finally, there's a modern way to treat symptoms and asthma attacks. Air Supra is the first ever dual-action rescue inhaler that treats your asthma symptoms and helps prevent attacks. Air Supra is the only rescue FDA approved to do both. Air Supra is an as-needed rescue inhaler and should not be used as a maintenance treatment for asthma. Get medical help right away if your breathing does not improve, continues to worsen, or for serious allergic reactions. Using Air Supra more than prescribed could be life-threatening. Serious side effects include heart problems, increased risk of thrush, or infections. Welcome to the modern age of dual-action asthma rescue. Ask your doctor if Air Supra is right for you.
Skating for over 45 years has taken a toll on my body. I take Cunol turmeric because it helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Why Cunol? It has superior absorption compared to regular turmeric. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at ro.co/sparks.
No one should have to choose between good vision and great value. That's why America's Best is slashing their prices. During the Wise Buy sales event, get 2 progressives and a comprehensive eye exam for just $129.95. Book an exam online today.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with demand. So they're going to On Deck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan and, if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
After Homoglow cleaned our place for $19, we fired our old housekeeper. Homoglow tackled everything, from our kitchen to our bathroom, all our laundry. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19.
We just shipped our millionth monthly coffee subscription box, so we're sending custom thank you gifts to our team. Our custom ink rep is just as excited as we are and knows what great quality products to get. Celebrate your milestones with custom gear. Get started today at customink.com.
As you know, as an emerging business, it's important to keep your budget intact. And Fiverr freelancers helped us maintain quality standards while efficiently managing costs, contributing to the success and growth of our business.
More than ever, you need clarity. More than ever, trust is everything. More than ever, democracy needs an ally. Facts must win the day, and questions need to be answered. Because more than ever, the work we do will reverberate for generations.
Tonight, the Biden White House says CIA Director Bill Burns is traveling to Rome this weekend to help seal a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal in the coming days. This comes after President Biden and Vice President Harris met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in separate meetings at the White House yesterday afternoon. Following her meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu, Vice President Harris called on Netanyahu to get this deal done.
Israel has a right to defend itself, and how it does so matters. It is time for this war to end, and end in a way where Israel is secure, all the hostages are released, the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can exercise their right to freedom, dignity, and self-determination. There has been hopeful movement in the talks to secure an agreement on this deal. And as I just told Prime Minister Netanyahu, it is time to get this deal done.
The vice president's meeting followed a dramatic encounter between the families of the American hostages and Netanyahu, arranged by President Biden. Axios News reports the families asked Netanyahu in front of Biden why the prime minister was slow-walking the negotiations on the deal. Netanyahu and top officials within his government have said they wish to continue Israeli military operations within Gaza after any ceasefire deal is reached, something that, based on Vice President Harris's remarks, could be a problem if she becomes commander-in-chief. Today, Netanyahu traveled to Florida to cozy up to Trump, and the former president was more than eager to share with the press his plan for Gaza.
Bible was very good to Israel, better than any president's ever been. And we did so many Golan Heights. We did Jerusalem, the capital. We actually built the embassy at Jerusalem, and the Iran nuclear deal. Unfortunately, the Biden administration didn't do anything. We terminated the Iran nuclear deal.
Y'all catch that? Trump didn't make a single mention of Gaza or Palestinians in his remarks. Also today, the Biden-Harris administration is touting a major national security victory at the southern border. Ismael El Mayo Zambada, who the Justice Department says is a drug lord and leader of Mexico's notorious Sinaloa cartel, and Joaquin Guzman Lopez, son of infamous cartel leader El Chapo, were arrested yesterday by federal authorities in Texas. Fox News chief national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin put it this way: this is the equivalent of getting bin Laden when it comes to the war against fentanyl. And it comes in the same month that illegal border crossings are the lowest in 3 years, when the border was closed due to COVID, since Biden's latest executive action. Joining me now, Richard Stengel, former Undersecretary of State during the Obama administration. He is also an MSNBC political analyst. Richard, thanks for being here. On Gaza, we saw dual meetings: Biden-Netanyahu, Harris-Netanyahu, and in between, this Biden-arranged dramatic confrontation between hostage families and Netanyahu. What was the goal yesterday?
Well, the goal, Jonathan, is to, as the vice president said, is to get the negotiations over the goal line. She very much looked like a commander-in-chief. She addressed Netanyahu as an equal. She did something I thought that was also a little bit different, Jonathan, is that she went a little further than President Biden did in expressing sympathy for the tragedy of what's happening to the Palestinian people in Gaza. She said, you cannot look away from this. I mean, there are nearly 40,000 people who have lost their lives in Gaza, maybe 10,000 children. I mean, it's a tragedy at proportions that it's hard to imagine. And so she actually expressed sympathy for them. And I think that's something that the American people want to hear. Netanyahu's popularity and the support for the Israelis' position has been going down and down and down. It's particularly a down among one particular group that she wants to appeal to, which is independents.
You know, Richard, allies of Netanyahu have said that Harris's remarks could harm a potential deal by giving Hamas leverage if it is interpreted as daylight between the United States and Israel. Is this just a ploy for Israel to remain in the negotiation driver's seat longer? That's something Trump seems willing to do.
You know, Jonathan, in my experience, negotiations go on as long as the people benefit from having them go along. And, you know, part of the criticism of Bibi is that, you know, as long as negotiations are going on, he stays in power and his government stays in power. As soon as the negotiations end, he becomes vulnerable. By the way, the same thing could be said of the leadership of Hamas. And so, you know, the U.S. role is to push people forward, to encourage them. But at the end of the day, we're not going to force anyone to make a deal. They'll make a deal when it's in their benefit to do so.
It seemed like Netanyahu's plan had been to run out the clock until a Trump win. With that less certain, is there more pressure on Netanyahu to agree to the ceasefire deal?
Well, he's looking at a Kamala Harris who, while very, very supportive of Israel, has a historic supporter of Israel, nobody is a supporter of Israel the way Joe Biden is. And as Netanyahu called him, he said, you know, you're an Irish-American Zionist. So I think it behooves him to make a deal. He'll get a better deal now, perhaps before President Harris. And maybe that's what he's thinking about.
Richard, let's turn to the border. Trump and Republicans want to smear Vice President Harris as a failed border czar. But the recent record is Trump tanked the border deal, and the Biden-Harris administration just arrested the bin Laden in the war on fentanyl.
Yes, it's a great victory. I love that tweet that this is like the bin Laden of the fentanyl wars. And by the way, one of the other misnomers, Jonathan, as you know, is that fentanyl doesn't come over the border. It comes from regular ports of entries. By the way, it's fantastic to get the head of the Sinaloa cartel, and maybe when you chop off the head, the snake will die. But the administration has reduced the number of people coming over the border to less than it was at the end of the Trump administration, as you said earlier.
You know, MAGA Republicans continue to conflate the issues of crime and immigration with the false narrative that Democrats are more interested in caring for the needs of migrants over American citizens. How can the Biden administration and the Harris campaign better communicate to the public on these issues?
Well, I think they're showing, as they are showing, that they're tough on these issues. The capture of the head of the cartel, the reduction of the number of immigrants coming across the border. At the same time, the reason our economy is so much better than the other G7 nations and that inflation is coming down is in part because the large numbers of immigrants coming into our economy that keeps it vital. You have to be able to talk about those two complex ideas together, but I think Americans understand that.
I've been calling you Richard. You go by Rick. Rick Stengel, thank you very much for coming on The Last Word.
Jonathan, great to be with you.
Coming up, the call that started it all just hours after Kamala Harris entered the presidential race. Tens of thousands of black women jumped on a call to organize and fundraise for her campaign. And it has set off a cascade of support for Kamala Harris that could have very real impact in November. That's next.
Choose Advil Liquid Gels for faster, stronger, and longer-lasting relief than Tylenol Rapid Release Gels. Because Advil targets pain at the source of inflammation. So for faster pain relief, Advil, the pain away.
You know, Priceline helps families save up to 60% on family-friendly hotels.
So many great trips, we might just leave here with another vacation baby.
Gross.
Oh, take it easy, Paris. And you too, Fort Lauderdale.
Lisa was in Toledo.
Go to your happy price, Priceline. Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at ro.co/sparks. Febreze.
I use Febreze Fabric Refresher every day to make my home smell amazing. On my bed, my couch, my jacket or jeans, in between washes, even shoes. Febreze doesn't cover up odors with scent, but fights them and freshens. Over 1,000 uses. Febreze Fabric Refresher.
When I was diagnosed with HIV, I didn't know who I would be.
But here I am, being me.
Keep being you and ask your healthcare provider about the #1 prescribed HIV treatment, Biktarvy.
Biktarvy is a complete one-pill, once-a-day treatment used for HIV in many people, whether you're 18 or 80. With one small pill, Biktarvy fights HIV to help you get to undetectable and stay there, whether you're just starting or replacing your current treatment. Research shows that taking HIV treatment as prescribed and getting to and staying undetectable prevents transmitting HIV through sex. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare, life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. Do not take Biktarvy if you take dofetilide or rifampin. Tell your healthcare provider about all the medicines and supplements you take if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Biktarvy without talking to your healthcare provider. Common side effects are diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
No matter where life takes you, Biktarvy can go with you. Talk to your healthcare provider today.
Sometimes Jonah wrestles with falling asleep, so he takes ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, and wakes up feeling like himself. Get the rest to be your best with non-habit-forming ZzzQuil. Better days start with ZzzQuil nights.
At St. Jude, we don't care who cures cancer, we just need to advance the cure. It's a bold initiative to try and bump cure rates all around the world, but we should. It is our commitment. We need to do this.
Type 2 diabetes?
Discover the Ozempic Trizone. Ozempic. I got the power of 3. I lowered my A1C, CV risk, and lost some weight.
In studies, the majority of people reached an A1C under 7 and maintained it.
I'm under 7.
Ozempic lowers the risk of major cardiovascular events such as stroke, heart attack, or death in adults also with known heart disease.
I'm lowering my risk.
Adults lost up to 14 pounds.
I lost some weight.
Ozempic isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't share needles or pens or reuse needles. Don't take Ozempic if you or your family ever had medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2 or if allergic to it. Stop Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Gallbladder problems may occur. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Ozempic with a sulfonylurea or insulin may increase low blood sugar risk. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems. Living with type 2 diabetes?
Ask about the power of 3 with Ozempic.
I was deployed overseas, and it really impacted my liver health. I was missing family moments because I just couldn't find the energy. Dose for Your Liver was the change that I needed. My wife is asking me where all this energy is coming from. I can show up as the dad I want to be again, and it's all thanks to Dose.
Features, like the people they're made for, are meant to move.
groundbreaking targeted compression, and an anatomical design for a custom-like fit, all backed by a lifetime guarantee. 15% off your first order at features.com.
Welcome to the Warby Parker Color Studio. Each season, we perform intensive research and experimentation to capture the perfect colors for new eyewear. This summer, we are excited to present such shades as raspberry, apricot, juniper crystal, and many more. Find the color of your summer. Shop eyewear starting at $95, including prescription lenses, in stores and at warbyparker.com.
Within hours of President Biden exiting the race and endorsing Kamala Harris for president, the group Win with Black Women, founded by Joteka Edie, sprung into action, organizing a call to mobilize and raise money for Kamala Harris. Attendance on the Win with Black Women call peaked at 44,000 people, but more than 90,000 were able to stream the call on other apps. The 19th reports that, quote, the group's goal to raise $1 million in 100 days was exceeded in just 3 hours, with more than $1.6 million raised. That was the call that started it all, pushing other coalition groups to step up and do the same. The next day, a call organized by Black men to mobilize support for Harris drew more than 50,000 attendees and raised $1.3 million. Other diverse coalitions have held calls to raise money and organize, including South Asian women, South Asian men, Latinas for Harris, and the LGBTQ+ community. On Monday, White Dudes for Harris will hold its call. And last night, it was white women's turn to answer the call. Black women understand the assignment in every election. Black women didn't get America into the Trump mess. On the other hand, white women supported Trump over Hillary Clinton in 2016, 47% to 45%. In the 2020 election, an even higher number of white women, 53%, supported Donald Trump. Shannon Watts, who founded gun safety group Moms Demand Action, organized a Zoom last night for white women to answer the call and do the work for Kamala Harris. Here are some of the women who answered.
I felt like good can win. I felt like love can win. I felt for the first time in a while like, okay, we can do this.
We have been given permission to love ourselves enough to see a different future as of Sunday and to fight like hell for it.
The hope that everybody is feeling, we haven't had that feeling in a long time, and this feels really good.
When our babies read of Kamala's victory in the history books, we will stand sturdy and proud, knowing that we were among the women who finally united, and we won.
After that call, Shannon Watts crunched the numbers. The first update was Kamala broke Zoom. Last night's call for Kamala Harris was the most attended Zoom meeting in history. And here's today's update. New, we've raised over $8.5 million so far, all from last night's Zoom of nearly 200,000 women answering the call for Kamala Harris. Thank you, Win with Black Women, for showing us how it's done. Joining us now, Joteka Edie, founder of Win with Black Women, who organized Sunday's phone call, and Shannon Watts, who helped organize last night's Answer the Call. Thank you both very much for being here. Let me start with you, Shannon. Any update to that fundraising number? What do you think is behind the momentum you saw with your record-breaking event?
Well, we were just following Joteka's lead. We took the baton from her and decided to use our privilege and our platform and our power to do the same thing that Joteka had done on her call. And I was so grateful to see women, white women, show up in mass. I think there's a lot of regret about the way that 2016 went, the way that 2020 went. And 2024 has to be different. It can be different. And last night was just a first step. This is not a new organization. It was just a call. Next step is to join a broader coalition. Win with Women for Harris actually has a huge coalition call on Monday night that we will all be joining. And it's really about taking step after step after step and not staying on the sidelines, actually getting out there and doing the work to elect Kamala Harris in 100 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jateka, take us all the way back to Sunday and the Win with Black Women call. What drove it, and how does it feel to see this cascade of support from other coalitions?
Well, Jonathan, it's just really exciting and electrifying to see the energy that's around the country for Vice President Kamala Harris. We couldn't be more than elated to see all of our allies that are stepping up, answering the call, doing what they need to do to organize their communities. And we're being inclusive and in community with each other. As Shannon said, there's a women's organizing call with the Biden, with the Harris campaign happening on Monday night. And we're all talking about all of those calls that happen to get together in the next week or two to truly see how we can break the internet and have hopefully millions of people joining us together, knowing that united, that we win. And in this moment, I think that this country is seeing the power of unity, but the power of mobilization at every single level. And it is on fire for Vice President Kamala Harris. And I know for the next 100 days, there are a lot of people who are going to be working and mobilizing.
Yeah, Shannon, what did you advise liberal white women that they specifically need to do, as you put it, use their privilege to elect Kamala Harris?
Yeah, I mean, Joteka gave me great advice when we spoke, and she said, look, the work that your community needs to do is much different. You know, white women are starting at a deficit. In every single election since 1950, except for two, the majority of white women have voted for the Republican candidate. And we all know it happened in 2016 and 2020, and there has to be, we have to flip the script. The good news is that white women aren't a monolith. We're divided among education and religion and marital status. And so even the smallest shift in the way we vote can swing an entire election. So if we can get those white women who are feeling punished or ostracized or alienated by comments by Donald Trump or J.D. Vance about childless women or cat ladies, or even taking away reproductive freedoms, including IVF. If we can get those women to vote the right way, we will win in a landslide. And so I think that's why these calls and these calls to action, right, that was just step one of so much work that needs to be done. That's why this is so important. And just like Joteka said, this is about coming together in a much larger coalition and doing the work together, shoulder to shoulder, and electing the first woman, the first Black woman, the first AAPI woman, President of the United States in 100 days.
Jateka, how can the enthusiasm be sustained through Election Day and translated into votes in key battleground states?
Well, that's where the work starts. We're going to win this election at the local level. We're going to win it going door to door. We're going to win it having conversations at our dinner tables, having conversations in our places of worship, having conversations in our places of fun, talking to our friends. It's going to take all of us together, as Shannon said, united, but focus and mobilizing. And it's very important to know that this fire and momentum is going to have an impact, I believe, up and down the ballot. I think we're going to see a lot of action and movement, particularly for candidates that are running for local office across this country, the United States Senate. I believe everything is back in play because the country is on fire and everyone is committed to taking action. Everyone is committed to making sure we're registering voters, talking to voters, and most importantly, casting those ballots.
Jateka Edie, I'm going to see you tomorrow night. And Shannon Watts, thank you both very much for coming to The Last Word. Tonight, Fox released new polling of 3 key swing states taken Tuesday through Thursday. In Pennsylvania, Vice President Kamala Harris and Trump are tied 49-49. In Michigan, Harris and Trump are tied 49-49. In Wisconsin, it's Kamala Harris 49, Trump at 50. Joining us now, Simon Rosenberg, longtime Democratic strategist and author of Hopium Chronicles on Substack. Simon, how should the new Harris for President campaign be feeling about those first swing state polls?
Well, listen, this has been a remarkable week, Jonathan, and I just want to say following that segment is one of the hardest things that I think I'll ever do. I mean, how amazing were they, and this incredible work that they're doing, just hats off in every way possible as a fellow warrior for our democracy. Listen, we've had a great week. I mean, there was serendipity, there was power, there was excitement, there was humility and honor to Joe Biden for everything that's happened. But I think the combination of the J.D. Vance's terrible pick by Donald Trump, which has, I think, motivated huge numbers of people around the country about the fear and threat of MAGA, combined with Joe Biden's selfless act and Kamala coming out of the gate so strong and so powerful all this week, is that all these things together have given us one of the best weeks the Democratic Party's had in a very long time. I mean, we have enormous momentum. We not just are raising incredible amounts of money. There are hundreds of thousands of people volunteering for the campaign. We've seen the party rally behind Kamala Harris, and now we've seen the polls. I mean, there's now several days of polls showing the race has shifted 3 to 4 points towards her. She's in a very competitive position in this election, tied, maybe even a little bit ahead. And that's before we even see the full effect of the rallying behind her, the pick of the VP, our Democratic convention. And so today, 100 days out, as Shannon said, I would much rather be us than them.
So, well, 100 days to campaign has been talked about as a disadvantage, but has it focused voters in a way a longer campaign might not have?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the vice president may be, this was all, who knew how this was all going to play out, right? I mean, it's been an extraordinary, we all need a weekend, right? It's Friday. We all need a weekend to relax after this crazy, incredible, emotional week. But, it has been, I think that the vice president now is in a sprint. Look, what she has to do just in the next few weeks, build a narrative and story, right? Make sure the campaign is, following her direction now that she's in charge, picking a VP, getting ready for the convention, developing a platform for her first term. That's the kind of stuff that happens over 6 months or 9 months. She's got to do it all in a few weeks. And, she's been doing it with grace and elegance and power this week. I mean, I've known the vice president for over 20 years, and I'm just so proud of her. I think she's come out clearly in command of the moment and kicking ass. And her message has been very powerful. It's organic. It's her. And I think she's really ignited the nation. And I think that, the Democratic Party is fired up and ready to go in this election. And we should be very optimistic about what we can do in these next 100 days.
Simon, with President Biden no longer at the top of the ticket, Democrats have taken the age, mental acuity issue off the table. And now it's turned squarely on Trump. How do you think that changes the race?
I think it's a big deal, and I think it's the thing the Republicans feared the most. I mean, what's happened now is that Trump's ugliness, his age, his unfitness, his unwellness, his extremism, all the deficits of Trump, all the things that are a drag on him were obscured to some degree by Biden's struggles in recent weeks. And now they're going to be on bright display. We're all going to see that every day. And I think that, even tonight, he's once again, every time he speaks in public, whether it's sharks and batteries or Hannibal Lecter or all the crazy things he says, he digs himself a deeper hole because he is unfit and unwell, in my view, and too extreme for the country. And so I do think the stark contrast between the vice president and her eventual VP pick and this old man who is unfit and unwell is going to become very central to our understanding of the moment, which is why I think the vice president's positioning this election as forward and backward is so powerful. And it's so inclusive, actually. It takes it out of politics. It's about, are we going to go backward as a nation, or are we going to go forward? And I think that contrast has gotten very, very bright in recent days. And I applaud the direction that she's taking the campaign at this point.
Simon Rosenberg, thank you for coming to The Last Word. Have a good weekend.
Happy Friday, Jonathan.
Coming up, another day, another Republican caught making creepy and dystopian comments about women and reproduction. And that Republican is Trump's VP pick. That's next.
Wow. Incredible. Amazing. My go-to is Lumify eye drops. Lumify dramatically reduces redness. in 1 minute.
And look at the difference.
My eyes look brighter and whiter.
For up to 8 hours.
Lumify? It's kind of amazing.
See for yourself.
My mental health was better, but uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia, started disrupting my day.
TD felt embarrassing. I felt like disconnecting. I asked my doctor about treating my TD and learned about Ingrezza.
Ingrezza is clinically proven for reducing TD. Most people saw results in just 2 weeks. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds. Only #1 prescribed Ingrezza has simple dosing for TD. Always 1 pill once daily. Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have thoughts of suicide. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects including angioedema, potential heart rhythm problems, and abnormal movements. Report fevers, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these may be life-threatening. Sleepiness is the most common side effect.
Take control by asking your doctor about Ingrezza.
Gum problems could be the start of a domino effect. Parodontic's Active Gum Repair Breath Freshener. Clinically proven to help reverse the 4 signs of early gum disease. A toothpaste from Parodontics, the gum experts.
Smile, you found it. The feeling of finding psoriasis can't filter out the real you. So go ahead, live unfiltered with the one and only Sotyktu, a once-daily pill for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis and the chance at clear or almost clear skin. It's like the feeling of finding you're so ready for your close-up, or finding you don't have to hide your skin, just your background. Once daily Sotyktu was proven better, getting more people clearer skin than the leading pill. Don't take if you're allergic to Sotyktu. Serious reactions can occur. Sotyktu can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB. Serious infections, cancers including lymphoma, muscle problems, and changes in certain labs have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides, or had a vaccine or plan to. Sotyktu is a TYK2 inhibitor. TYK2 is part of the JAK family. It's not known if Sotyktu has the same risks as JAK inhibitors. Find what plaque psoriasis has been hiding. There's only one Sotyktu, so ask for it by name. So clearly you. Sotyktu.
Can you do this? As early as your 40s, you may lose muscle and strength. Protein supports muscle health. Ensure Max Protein has a 30-gram blend of high-quality protein to feed muscles for up to 7 hours. So take the challenge. Ensure nutrition for strength and energy.
Compared with other chews, one Brevecto chew protects from fleas and ticks for 12 weeks, nearly 3 times longer.
Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurological disorders. Protection that lasts longer? Bravo, Brevecto! Bravo!
What's up? You seem kind of sluggish today.
Things aren't really moving.
You could use some Metamucil.
Metamucil psyllium fiber helps keep your digestive system moving so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil keeps you moving. And try Fizzing Fiber Plus vitamins.
What does a robot know about love? It takes a human to translate that leap in our hearts into something we can see and hold. Etsy.
Some days you can feel like a spectator in your own life with chronic migraine. 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they start. And treatment is 4 times a year. In a survey, 91% of users wish they'd started sooner. So why wait? Talk to your doctor.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Chronic migraine may still keep you from being there. Why wait? Talk to your doctor about Botox and get in the picture. Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Dystopia scary. That's how Democratic Senator Chris Murphy described resurfaced comments on abortions said by a Senate candidate in 2022. The now Republican vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance.
Okay, look, here's a situation. Let's say Roe versus Wade is overruled. Ohio bans abortion, in 2022 or let's say 2024. And then, every day George Soros sends a 747 to Columbus to load up disproportionately Black women to get them to go have abortions in California. And of course, the left will celebrate this as a victory for diversity. If that happens, do you need some federal response to prevent it from happening? Because it's really creepy. And, you know, I'm pretty sympathetic to that, actually.
You heard that right. A now sitting senator and Republican nominee for president said he is sympathetic to a quote-unquote federal response to stop women from getting life-saving abortion care. A spokesperson for the Harris campaign issued this statement. J.D. Vance's obsession with controlling women's most personal health care decisions, from blocking access to IVF to tracking women's menstrual cycles to passing a national abortion ban to bar women from traveling to access the care they need, isn't just bad policy, it's creepy, it's unacceptable, and voters won't stand for it. That is what is at stake for voters, not only in the presidential election, but in the Senate. That applies to legislation, but also to the potentially hundreds of federal judges and justices who will be confirmed in the next 4 years.
We who believe in reproductive freedom will restore the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government telling her what to do. When he was president, Donald Trump, former president, handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court because he intended for them to overturn Roe v. Wade. The United States Supreme Court, previously the court of Thurgood and RBG. And as he intended, they did. Well, let me tell you something. When I am president of the United States, and when Congress passes a law to restore those freedoms, I will sign it into law.
Rick Scott, who's running for Senate re-election in Florida and wants to be the next Republican majority leader, supports a 6-week national abortion ban. Joining us now is former Democratic U.S. Congresswoman Debbie Mucarsel-Powell of Florida. She is running for the U.S. Senate in Florida against incumbent Rick Scott. Congresswoman, great to see you again. Vice President Kamala Harris has now been at the top of the ticket for 5 days. How are you feeling about running on the Harris ticket in Florida in November?
Well, good evening, Jonathan. I am so excited. And I can tell you that we have been feeling the excitement across the state here in Florida. And in my campaign, we have been also receiving more calls to volunteer. We had over 7,000 volunteers sign up. It's double the number of any other swing state across the country. People don't understand what's going on here in the state of Florida. I am running against one of the most extreme politicians, Rick Scott, someone that is eyeing his eyes on the Senate. And you said creepy. And when I hear creepy, and all of us here in the state of Florida, we know what creepy looks like, and that's Rick Scott. He wants to push for a national abortion ban. He actually voted against access to IVF and then bought ad space, over a 7-figure buy ad, to tell Floridians, to lie to Floridians, saying that he wants to protect access to IVF. We can't let him go back to the Senate. This is Trump's pick to push Project 2025. So everyone watching, I really need you to pay attention to this race. Contribute. I need your support. DebbieForFlorida.com. He is a self-funder. He put over $64 million of his own money into the race in 2018 and barely won. He only won by 10,000 votes. I'm already building coalitions that are much larger than just 10,000 votes. So there's no other way to couch this, Jonathan. If J.D. Vance and Rick Scott get their way, they will push for a national abortion ban. And I'm not going to let that happen. I can tell you that.
Your opponent, Rick Scott, has made a proposal regarding health savings accounts in IVF, but he voted against the very simple Right to IVF Act last month. So what do you say to voters who might be confused about Rick Scott's views on reproductive care?
I've been talking a lot about this, and I remind them that this is the man that oversaw the largest Medicare fraud in the history of this country. His company had to pay over $1.7 billion in fines. And what has he been saying to seniors here living in the state? That he wants to protect Medicare. although he wrote a plan to eliminate it. And so no one in Florida can trust Rick Scott. He is using this money once again to buy his seat in the Senate. He's someone that will do whatever Trump says, but he has ambitions. He wants to be Senate Majority Leader. And to save America from the disaster and the disastrous policies that Rick Scott
Compared with other chews, one Brevecto chew protects from fleas and ticks for 12 weeks, nearly 3 times longer.
Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurological disorders. Protection that lasts longer? Bravo, Brevecto! Bravo!
So rich, so indulgent. It's Indulgent Moisture Body Wash for soft, smooth skin. Bye-bye dry, hello glow in just 14 days. Indulge with Olay Body Wash.
Clem's not a morning person or a people person, but he is an I can solve this in 4 different ways person. You need Clem. Clem needs benefits. Work with principals so we can help you with a plan that's right for him. Let our expertise round out yours.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Roe Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at roe.co/sparks.
Okay, y'all, we got 10 orders coming in.
Starting a business is never easy, but starting at 8 months pregnant, that's a different story. I couldn't slow down. We were starting a business from the ground up. People were showing up left and right, and so did our business needs. The Chase e-card made it easy. When you go for something big like this, your kids see that, and they believe they can do the same.
Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase with the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card from Chase for Business. Make more of what's yours.
For moderate to severe Crohn's disease, Skyrizi is the first IL-23 inhibitor that can deliver remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Control of Crohn's means everything to me. Ask your gastroenterologist about Skyrizi.
Control is everything to me.
Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
So that's how they're so productive. They use Fiverr. Look how quickly they find freelancers. So simple.
Yeah, but why are they working in the dark?
Grow your business easily with freelancers. Fiverr.
We just signed the lease on our 3rd shop. My assistant went to customink.com to get new uniforms with all the locations. He found great products, uploaded new art, and had boxes sent to all the shops. Custom Ink makes it so easy. Get started today at customink.com.
If you know luxury, it's not just award-winning, it's rewarding. Saatva Mattresses supports all types of sleepers with durable steel coils and plush organic cotton. Luxury is handcrafted in American factories and brought directly to you with our free in-home white glove delivery service, which is why over 90% of customers would recommend Saatva to friends and family. Saatva, luxury mattresses made affordable.
Join me on the Saturday show tomorrow when, as I mentioned earlier, Joteka Edie will be here to talk about all the calls she has spawned. But also, Congressman Gregory Meeks joins me live to discuss Democrats rallying around Vice President Kamala Harris and Harris's strong message to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on MSNBC. That is tonight's Last Word. The 11th hour with Stephanie Ruhle starts now.
breaking political news. Former President Barack Obama endorsing VP Kamala Harris.
Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Capping off a remarkable week that saw all corners of the Democratic Party really rally around her.
I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
Team Harris leaning into the cultural storm and the mimification of her image, embracing breath.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
We just had the best 24 hours of grassroots fundraising in presidential campaign history.
She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country.
These are weird people on the other side.
I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday, and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist.
My God, they went after cat people. Good luck with that. Turn on the internet and see what cat people do when you go after them.